Good morning, everybody. This is Paul Carruthers. I'm the communications manager for MotoAmerica, and this is MotoAmerica's weekly podcast, Off Track with Carruthers and Bice. As I already mentioned, I'm Carruthers. I've got Bice joining me from Ohio on the line. And how are you this morning, Sean, other than a little bit late?
Yeah, it's a good morning. I don't know. I guess I thought Friday was the weekend for some reason, so I kind of lost my mind there for a minute. But I'm back and better than ever. So life is good.
Well, just to let everybody know, we record these at various times during the week, usually Thursday. We had a technical issue yesterday with our guest, so we moved it to Friday, 7 a.m. in California. And the guest and I are both in California. Both managed to be on time for a 7 o'clock call. Our partner in Ohio, who's, I think it's what, excuse me, 10 in the morning.
Yeah, 10:05.
Yeah, 10:05. And excuse me, damn, I got a frog in my throat. So our guest, or our co-host in Ohio, at 10:05, finally managed to be coerced into joining us after I had to remind him once. So Sean, you got to quit with this slacking crap.
It's funny. It goes all the way back to my college years. When I was in college, I made sure that I scheduled all my classes for either afternoon or early evening. I never had to get up in college either. So yeah, I'd sleep forever. It's one of my favorite sports, actually.
So that's the exact opposite of me, because I was, I'm pretty much a morning person, and I always have been. So when I was in college, I got all my classes as early as I could and got them over with.
Well, that's dreadful. I couldn't handle that.
No, the mornings when I'm at my best. So anyhow, let's talk about a little bit about our guest today. Our guest is Hunter Dunham. He raced in Stock 1000 championship last year for MotoAmerica, finished 10th in the championship, had some injuries, I think mid-season towards the end. It kind of wrecked his year a little bit. But he still, as I said, mentioned to finish 10th in the championship. He's ridden with us in Junior Cup, Stock 1000, as I mentioned, and he's going to be back next year with Stock 1000 again, and we're going to talk to him about his program for this coming season and also the seasons past. So welcome to the show, Hunter. I know you're somewhere in Southern California. Tell us about where you are and what you're up to today.
Yeah, hey guys, good morning to you. Good afternoon to Sean. He likes to get up quite late. So he's not a morning bird like me and you, Paul. I'm actually in Southern California, Marietta area. I'm actually driving at the moment, just about to pull up to Blackmore's Ranch to do a couple days of super camp with Danny Walker and American Supercamp. It's going to be a fun couple days, just out here in the beautiful sunshine, not back freezing cold back home. So I'm looking forward to just standing out in this warm sun instead of freezing back home in Georgia.
So are you sort of in a guest instructor role there, or how does that work?
Yeah. So yeah, Danny, me, a couple of us. So me and Cam Peterson, mostly kind of help Danny, and Jake Gagne, with super camps, just kind of guest instructors, just get to ride motorcycles for a couple of days and coach a couple people and try to make a buck at it. So it's a fun role. We do it all over the country. So it just happens to be in Southern California this weekend. Last weekend, me, Jason Uribe, and Cam were up in Northern California doing a camp. So we're doing.
It sort of works out pretty well for you because obviously you instruct, but it also gives you a lot of seat time and you get to slide around and have some fun.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. So it's the best thing is, like you said, is to just ride motorcycles. And that's what the goal is all the time, is try to ride as much as possible. So when I get to just kind of make $1 at it and help out and coach some people and still have some fun at the same time.
And with Danny, it's literally is $1.
Yeah, he helps us out. It might be $2 sometimes, but yeah, for sure.
You know, Hunter, one of the things I want to get into with you is a little bit regarding your stature. I mean, you're known to be a tall rider, lanky rider. So let's talk about that from the perspective of Supercamp and riding on those TTRs, or even riding with the J-Force training camp like you've been doing with Josh Hayes for a while now. How does it feel to ride on those bikes? Are they okay for you with being as tall as you are?
Yeah, not granted. I would love to be a small 5'2", 5'5" guy. They'd fit me a lot better, but there's no complaints here. I've been tall pretty much a long time,
Your whole
so
life.
I don't use it as an excuse. I just figure out ways, and I might have to sit differently on the bike than those guys, and just work a little bit harder. So it's not I don't use it as a crutch, but I know some people might think, but I have my advantages. I can actually kind of muscle the bike around a little bit more. But it's a give and take most of the time. So, but I don't ever look at it. I just try to figure out how to get around it and keep moving forward.
Well, you know, it's funny. Years ago, I have always said, we used to always talk about Dale Quarterly when he raced it, being a really big guy. And it's funny, you see him in the paddock and he's kind of an average size person at this point. And, you know, it's changed a lot. I mean, between you and Jake Lewis and, you know, there's 3 or 4 of you guys, Nolan Lampkin. I mean, there's a lot of really tall, younger riders. And I wanted to talk to you about that a little bit, because when you joined our series in Junior Cup, one of the things I remember fairly early on is how you had a stepped seat on your bike. And that's something Colin Edwards did way back in the 90s when he rode a TZ250. And, you know, Colin's a tall, lanky rider too. So he used to use that to get his butt up a little bit high and off the seat. And I know that's what you were doing with your bike. And talk to us about riding in Junior Cup. And then you had a very brief stint. It was essentially 1 round at Pittsburgh on a super sport bike. And then, you know, you had gotten injured at that race and that round. And then you came back the next year and are in Stock 1000. Did you go from being on that Junior Cup bike to the Stock 1000 bike because of your size and the fact that it probably fit you better than that Super Sport R6 that you rode for that one race?
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, in Junior Cup, like you said, we did make a custom tail section. The rules allowed it. So basically, we made it to where I could slide back onto the back of the tail down the straightaways and get my elbows tucked in, and be an arrow think small as possible, even though I'm 6'1". We just had to make it work. But yeah, inevitably we kind of made that decision for Junior Cup to Stock 1000. It's not like I haven't ridden 600s before. I do it. I did a lot amateur like Wera stuff on 600s. And so like I was used to like the bigger bikes. It's not like I jumped from a Junior Cup bike straight to a Stock 1000. I've rode some in between, but yeah, inevitably we thought it was the best jump for me. Money wise as well. Our Stock 1000 program was going to be a little bit cheaper for my family and I and the team, rather than a super sport 600 ride. Just because it's a stock bike, you don't have to do too much to it. But yes, for sure, the height, I actually fit on a bigger bike better, and I'm actually pretty comfortable on one now. So yeah, that was one of the points, but also there was a couple others. Main goal is basically to get a Superbike ride, so might as well just start racing 1000s and kind of figure out how to ride them, because they're a little bit different than a 600 and especially different than a Junior Cup bike. So the more time I can spend on one, the better chance I have to get a Superbike ride in the future.
Hunter, let's talk a little bit about last season. Refresh our memory and kind of, you don't have to take us through race by race, but like where was it that you got hurt and how many races did you miss, et cetera? Just kind of fill us in a little bit on what happened in 2020.
I don't know if I really want to refresh on it because it didn't go so well. But
yeah, but you know, sometimes you got to talk about the bad stuff to make the good stuff seem even better.
Exactly right. I say that in the mirror every morning. Okay. So no, I got hurt at the Ridge. That was the first time I just had a good season going, figuring the bike out, stuff like that. just kind of first getting my feet wet first season for Stock 1000. And then I just had a kind of a get off at the ridge. That was just a stupid mistake on my part, and hurt myself and actually knocked myself out. I lacerated a kidney and my liver, all in one crash. So it was kind of a three for one. It was a pretty big crash. But after that, luckily I'm still young, so I healed pretty quickly. So I missed Jersey round, and then came back at Barber and felt pretty good on the bike, trying to get back into it. And I decided to do the Superbike races on Saturday, Sunday, the Superbike Cup races. So I did the stock race, and on Saturday in the Superbike race, was running, battling for ninth with a couple people, and just came out of a corner and grabbed too much throttle, got a little too excited, and kind of high-sided myself, and landed weird and broke my arm. So basically 2 back-to-back races, crashed and hurt myself. And then inevitably the one at Barber ended my season. So I missed Indy and Laguna. So I missed a total of 3 rounds this year.
You know, I've got a strange story, Hunter, about Ridge. I remember when you had that crash, exactly when it happened, because ironically, I had been talking to your mom right before that session when you went out.
Mm-hmm.
And I had a long talk with her, and I was telling her how impressed I am with you as a rider and a person. And I said, Paul and I need to get you on the podcast. And we were setting up, making that happen. And I don't mean to laugh about it, but the next session, I'm like, oh my God, you know, cause that's when you got crashed. And I was like, you know, right after that. And I was like, I felt
threw a wrench in those plans.
What's that? Yeah, exactly.
Threw a wrench in those plans, even though I didn't even know them.
Yeah, I know. I don't even know if your mom would remember that, but I remember thinking she went from, you know, us having this joyful conversation about your program and what you're doing, and then that happened. And speaking of that, we'll get into this a little bit more, but the fact that your mom and dad are so integral to your racing program, are you an only child?
No, so I do have an older brother.
Oh, that's right. Yes. Okay.
Yeah, I do have an older brother, but he's in the military. So
that's right.
I'm the youngest, so I've always kind of been around. And now that I'm racing and stuff like that, we all live on the same property together. So it's like we're closer than most people think we are. We're pretty close. So like we see each other every day. We do stuff every day, kind of like just a big family ranch back home. So it's nice. I'm glad they're a part of it. I couldn't do it without them. So, but yeah, like their dad's my mechanic. Mom's basically the team manager. She handles all the money stuff side of it and sponsorship. So we all do our part. I got to do my part better and not get hurt and just actually stay on the motorcycle. So, but yeah, no, it's nice. I'm really grateful for having them and having the relationship I have with them, because I know some people just don't have the relationship with the parents like I do.
Yeah, and what's interesting, Hunter. Sorry, Paul. I just want to jump in on this one more thing, because he led us into this. This is fascinating to me about the fact that it's a family team. But the other part of it is Hunter just said that his mom handles the money part of it and his dad's the mechanic. So Hunter, tell our fans here on Off Track with Carruthers and Bice what your mom does for a living and what your dad does for a living, because this is kind of fascinating.
So yeah, my mom, she's a financial advisor for Edward Jones. She has an office in our hometown in Georgia. So yeah, she does 401ks, retirement plans, everything. So she's really good with money. She knows all the numbers more than I do. So it's good to have somebody like that. And then my dad, he's a aircraft mechanic for Delta. So he works at the airport, works on the airplanes.
Wow.
It's so cool that he's a mechanic and she's the money person, and not only for their professions, but for your team, which is it's so perfect, that they can do that.
I know. I like, especially my dad working for Delta. So like, I can, if I need to be where, especially for super camps, if something's late, I can just jump on a plane and we fly for free. So like I can go anywhere. So it's nice for that aspect, if I need to get somewhere to go testing or something like that, or need to do something, I can just hop on a plane and get there without having to worry for paying for flights and booking that and stuff like that.
Wow.
So it's a nice gig. It's a nice gig. I'm really grateful to have that.
Well, I'm not completely sure I'd use your mom as a financial advisor if she thinks it's a good idea to go motorcycle racing, but we'll talk about that a little bit another time. So tell us, I know you're pretty much set for this coming season. Tell us a little bit about the team that the team going forward this year. What's different, what's the same, and what you hope to accomplish.
Yeah. So pretty much our program's going to be the same. We're still going to be riding a 2020 Yamaha R1 in Stock 1000 and Superbike Cup. But a couple things will change. We're joining technical partners with Westby. They're going to actually transport our bike this year. So they're going to help out with transport and then be technical advisors if we have any problems or questions, stuff like that. We'll be under their canopy this year. So it'd be nice to have somebody to kind of bounce ideas off of, and they're accomplished Yamaha team and like they know what they're doing. The results speak for themselves with Matthew and the team. So I'm looking forward to that, having that aspect this year, kind of more well-rounded. And then also we have a crew chief change. We're bringing in Melissa, Cam Peterson, Melissa Paris. Cam Peterson's crew chief from last year. She's going to be joining our team as our crew chief, and then Josh will be my rider coach for the year.
Well, you've got everything pretty much buttoned up. I mean, that's going forward into this season. You have to feel a lot better than you did going forward into last season based on the extra help.
Yeah, no, especially because we got our bike last year, the first round, and we with the new 2020 Yamahas, they've changed the little things from the older Yamahas, just like electronic and like mapping and stuff, and we just kind of couldn't wrap our head around it. We were always on the back foot, going to each round at nationals, having to go fast. So now that we've actually had some testing this off season and actually, wrapping our head around the mapping part and getting help from Ed Sullivan, Matthew's crew chief at Westby, it makes it less worrisome and give you a peace of mind. Okay, all right, now the bike, I know what the bike's going to do, and focus on me as a rider rather than worried about the bike and what the bike's going to do and be kind of scared of the thing. So yeah, for sure, going into this year, it's going to be a good year.
Hunter, so if I'm understanding this correctly, so Melissa Paris is going to be your crew chief, which means your dad, Tony, is a mechanic. Does that mean that Melissa is going to be bossing your dad around?
Oh, for sure. 100%. 100%. Oh yeah. And he's okay with it. He'd be like, yes, ma'am, I'll do it. So he's good like that. So it's going to be funny to watch though.
Well,
depending on how your mom is, he might be used to that already.
That's right.
Oh, he's for sure used to that. She wears the pants in the house. Let's just put it that way. We're all scared of her. We're not scared of him. We're scared of her.
Yeah, that's funny.
Well, that's how it works. That's the way it is in my family too. My wife is the boss, and if mom ain't happy, ain't nobody happy, as they say. So,
exactly. You run it, hide. You get it out of throwing distance because she'll grab anything and throw it at you. She doesn't care what it is. I've been hit with a lot of things and left a lot of marks on me.
How does she and your dad, how do they handle the fact that, it's inherent in motorcycle road racing that you're going to have crashes? I mean, how do they handle that? It seems like they do a pretty good job with it. Would you say that's true?
Yes. Yeah, for sure. I'm lucky to have parents that support me and love what I do. My dad actually got me into racing when I was younger. So he's the one that started it all. So you can blame it on him. But mom does it well. She she knows the risk involved, and she's not worried that I'm gonna crash or get hurt or something like that. She just knows how much she's okay with it. She just knows how much I put into it. And so if I crash and get hurt, she's like, feels sad for me. So like, she knows crashing's part of it, but she knows this is what I love to do. And she's going to give her 110% for basically me to chase my dreams. Only thing she says, if I crash and I get up and I stick my hand up in the air and give a thumbs up to the camera or anybody, because she'll know I'm okay. And that's been since I was 4, racing all the way up. If I crash and go down, she can see me. If I get up and just put my hand in the air, she knows I'm all right. And then she's got the peace of mind. So that's her only request. She goes, I don't care. Get up, put your hand in the air, tell me you're okay, and then I'll be okay.
Yeah.
She only has one rule, just one rule.
It's kind of like when you're supposed to call when you get somewhere. Have you ever forgotten?
Yeah, exactly. For sure. No, it's exactly it. Just kind of letting her know I'm safe and like I'm good. I might be hurt, might have something, but if if I know, okay, I'll be okay, I'll give her the thumbs up and she'll be all right.
I want to talk to you, Hunter, a little bit about your what you do with Josh Hayes, because one of the things that's interesting about his J-Force training camp is he's got a lot of different riders, and he does several different aspects of training for those riders. I mean, what he seems to do for Bobby Fong is so different than what he does for Cam Peterson, or he's worked with Kevin Almeida. It's with Bobby, he's talked about kind of getting his, head in the right place. And he did that. He's done that with Cam as well too. And, a lot of these riders, I mean, especially those guys, they're so experienced that their technique and racecraft is pretty solid. What does he bring to your program? What does he focus on anything specifically with you?
Yeah. Yeah, like you said, he helps Bobby just kind of getting his head around it, and just not freaking out in different situations. And he works with me a little bit on that, but we've mainly focused on just because I help with Supercamp a lot. I struggle with just like teaching technique and stuff a lot instead of just going for it, throwing technique out the window and just trying to go fast. So that's what we've been trying to focus on this year is just throwing it out the window, not worrying about certain things, and just trying to go fast, basically. Let's just be racy, go for blood and everything, and just kind of get that mindset of that person has my spot, I'm going to go take it from him, rather than just kind of, okay, he can have that spot. Just kind of be more direct on the motorcycle and go to the front, basically.
And what type of rider would you say you are, Hunter, in terms of, are you hard on the brakes? Do you use the rear brake? Are you good with corner speed? Are you a point and shoot? I mean, tell us about your style of riding.
So coming off a junior cup bike, this is what I kind of struggled with last year. They carry a lot of corner speed. So like I would just kind of roll the corners, and I'm pretty good at the corner speed aspect. On a big bike, it's more point and shoot. So I'm having to retrain my thought process of going into corners rather than roll the corner, kind of get it in there hot, turn it, and just like point and shoot off the corner. But I'm getting better at it. Especially this off season, we've just been working on that rather than making it a big, kind of U-shape, kind of V and everything off, squaring it up, picking it off the side of the tire as quickly as possible. So right now, I would say it's kind of in transition of everything, trying to get it to be able to ride the Superbike the way you need to ride it to go fast. And just changing my thought process rather than like, okay, that's what I need to do, stop doing this, and just being analytical on the bike, I would say. I'm more analytical than just saying, screw it, I'm going to grab a handful of throttle, hope for the best. I have to think things through more than just saying, well, I hope this works, let me roll the dice. So.
Well, and let's talk about that difference between the Junior Cup bike and your Stock 1000 Superbike Cup bike a little bit, because obviously there's some electronics involved in both. Certainly the Stock 1000 bike, a heck of a lot more than the Junior Cup bike. Not quite the level of a Superbike in terms of that full suite of electronics, but you have a pretty sophisticated electronic system on your bike in stock form. So my question to you is, do you trust it? Because that idea about just gas it and hope that the traction control is going to do what it's supposed to do, that's a tough thing to learn. Is that difficult for you?
Yes. Yeah, I wouldn't, if you ask any rider, it's pretty hard to trust something that's not like that you don't know, because sometimes it fails, sometimes it doesn't. It's just the way computers work. But yeah, that's the hardest thing right now, is getting it to where, okay, this right here, if like in this corner, like I know Superbikes can get it almost down to the corner. We just kind of have a broad range across the board. Electronics, that's the kind of difference. But yes, it's hard. It's hard to go, okay, I can get to 100% throttle with this much lean angle, and the thing's going to intervene and the traction control is going to kick on and not high side me, because the things are so powerful. Like stock bikes now are 190, almost 200 horsepower. And coming from a junior cup bike that has 50 horsepower, it's a little bit different. So yeah, just trusting the bike. That's a hard thing to do.
So Hunter, in a couple of weeks here, we have our test at COTA, the preseason test. Are we going to see you there?
Yes, for sure. Yep. I will for sure be there.
Awesome. Obviously that's a pretty important couple of days as far as getting your stuff ready. It's kind of odd in a way that we're testing at a track that we're not racing at. We didn't know we weren't racing at it, but we're apparently not racing at it. But it's still it's a helpful 2 days just to get your brain up to speed and get that bike set up for Road Atlanta.
Yeah, for sure. Especially being at a track like that, that's pretty quick, and it's got a lot of stuff to work on, a lot of different corners. So if you can set your bike up for that, I think you'll be pretty much dialed for Road Atlanta, like through the S's, through like 3, 4, 5 area, at COTA and Atlanta, the little quick flick S's, and then the hard braking and off the back straightaway, stuff like that. I think it's going to be very beneficial for us as a team, to kind of get our head around and, okay, figure out setup, because Road Atlanta and COTA, they're different, but they have some same corners and same straightaways and same ideas around the track. So we can just work on those things, and I think we'll be pretty dialed for the first race come into April.
One thing I want to talk to you about too is we've had some fans that have asked us from time to time when we've mentioned in our social media things about the Superbike Cup, and a couple fans have mistaken Superbike Cup for another way to refer to our Superbike Championship, and obviously that's not the case. We're going on 7 years in MotoAmerica at this point, and some of our classes have evolved a little bit. And at one time, as we had Super Stock 1000 that ran on the track at the same time as Superbikes, and you mentioned Matthew Skoltz, and he famously won a couple of Superbike races on a Super Stock 1000 bike that's spec'd a little different than your Stock 1000 bike. Yours is not quite as advanced as that bike was. But Can you talk about, for the fans, about the fact that you race in Stock 1000 and you also race in Superbike Cup, and what that means, and how you view it? Do you like doing it? Is it important for your program?
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, this MotoAmerica has allowed us to kind of race our stock bikes, our bikes that we run in Stock 1000 class, into the Superbike class on the grid with them. So yeah, I think it's very beneficial, honestly, as Stock 1000 riders, to get to ride with somebody faster than you, meaning the bikes are faster, the electronic stuff like that. So it gives you kind of like a push to kind of, okay, let me see what I can do, and where they're faster, but always people like to ride with faster people. It just brings you to that level. It forces you to ride harder and get to that level, so you can, you want to beat them as competitors on the racetrack. You want to beat the guy in front of you. And once you pass that guy, you just look for the next guy. So I think it's very beneficial, especially for Stock 1000. We get more time on the racetrack to learn and try to get up to the speed. And then also, if we do good Superbike races on a stock bike, it shows what caliber rider we are, and potentially get a ride in the future. So with
Yeah,
full
I mean,
super team.
it's a great stepping stone for sure. I mean, we haven't heard yet what Cam Peterson's plans are for this year, but it's certainly, I mean, he won the championship and that cup, and he was in the top 5 in some of those Superbike races, and a lot of the fans were like saying this guy deserves to be in the on the big bike, the Superbike. So I can see how that, and it's great for your arc of your plan of wanting to get into Superbike. It sounds like you're only like maybe a half a step away from making that happen. Maybe next year, the year after that. Is that really kind of your goal?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that's my goal for sure, is to be racing with the fastest guys in America for sure, and being up there and being up front, and running with them to show how good of a caliber rider I am. But like the next steps, I just gotta chip away at the steps. I gotta work on certain things, and hopefully the results are going to come this year and then next year, and then hopefully have the opportunity in 2-3 years time to actually get my chance at riding one of those super bikes.
When you go into this season, obviously your season last year on Stock 1000 had some good moments and had some bad moments. Is it a baby steps thing for you? Are you thinking like, okay, let's get this thing rolling and top 5 is the goal and then podium is the goal? I mean, is that how you approach it?
Kind of. It's all up in the wind right now, because like last year we just ended on a crash. So like our potential is there. We just got to go out and like come around the first COTA test. We'll see where we are. But once I get that little taste of close to a podium or that, I'm going to do whatever it takes regardless. But that confidence, just confidence building, when you can be there and run with those guys and not lose them, then your confidence just builds, and it basically the curve of the expectation just goes straight to the top. So everybody wants to win races, but you got to kind of be realistic at the same time. But yeah, for sure right now, top 5s is the goal. Last year we were in that second group right behind the first group. So I want to be for sure in that front group this year. And then especially if I get a top 5 and I'm close to the podium, I'm going to go for it. I had a couple races like in Junior Cup when I was battling for the podium and I'm like, I want to win. And I crashed out of both races going for it. So I'm not here to take second. Granted, I like podiums and stuff like that, but the main goal for everybody is to win races. And that's the goal every year coming in, is I want to win as many races as possible.
All right. Well, that's a good spot for us to end on. Hunter, we appreciate you joining us, and I don't want Danny Walker to dock your pay and only give you 50 cents today. So
exactly. He has been driving around. I'm actually here. He's been driving around on the tractor just looking at me. He pulls up beside me. Like
I can actually see the Danny scowl as he looks at you like, get out here and water something. But we appreciate you. We appreciate you taking some time to join us this morning. And obviously we'll see you in a few weeks at the COTA test. Stay safe out there training, and yeah, we'll see you in Texas. And I know Sean's probably got a commercial for us here at the end.
Oh yeah,
thanks guys.
Yeah, thanks, Hunter, for being on. You did a great job with us. We enjoyed talking to you. So let me just mention, we talked about the test coming up at the end of the month here. So it's March 29th and 30th. It's on a Tuesday and a Wednesday. And I mention it not because we have coverage on TV, because we don't, unfortunately. We're not doing streaming or any of our TV. But we do have live timing and scoring, and we are very active on our social media, as you guys probably know. So we will put out every session after it happens, so you guys can find out how these riders are doing. And also, we've only got a couple weeks to go before that test anyway. So a lot of you are probably wondering, there's certain teams out there and certain riders that you don't know what they're doing and where they're going. Well, we're as excited as you and hopeful to get that news out too. So when we're allowed to get it out there, we're going to get it out, and you guys absolutely pay attention to our social media, and you'll find out some scoops on what's coming up this year. And then please pay attention to our test, and then go on our website, look at the rounds that we have this year, and you can click on tickets and get your tickets all set to go for the season. And it's going to be one of the greatest, if not the greatest season we've had so far, especially in Superbike and Stock 1000 with some changes there and a pretty level playing field. Thanks a lot to everybody, and thanks, Paul.
You got me all fired up now.
Good, I love it.
I'm ready to go. Hunter's ready to go. We're ready to buy tickets and go. You know what's funny? We get spoiled by live streaming and live TV and all that stuff, but it's kind of like I just spent a couple of days watching live timing from the test in Portugal that Cameron Bovier and Joe Roberts were taking part in for the Moto2 series. And it's actually kind of fun to watch live timing. You kind of know what's going on, but you don't really know what's going on. So you're trying to figure it out, but it's kind of a fun experience. So I think it's a good option for people to follow our COTA test. I mean, the stopwatch doesn't lie, they say. So you can always tell, it gives you a pretty good indication of how things are going to go when we get the season started. So it's definitely worth checking into. So thanks for that, Sean. Thanks, Hunter. Stay safe.
Yeah, guys, thanks, guys.
We'll talk to you again soon.
Yep. Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me on. Y'all have a great day.